Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our jet lag coverage here at RHAP. I am your host, Taran Armstrong, ready to talk about episode 4 of Jet Lag, the Schengen Showdown. And with me to talk about it all, of course, is Sasha. How you doing, Sasha?
So good. I'm ready. The number one, actually, jet lag podcast is here, baby. We made it. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Yes. Feels weird to say that it's a shorter episode at around 40 minutes or so nowadays for jet lag, but it was the shorter episode. I think they said on the Layover podcast that it will be their shortest of the season.
And I'll allow it. Okay.
It was, I think, sort of like the most straightforward, nothing really went too wrong kind of episode. I think with all of the excitement of the two teams competing and all of that stuff, this was kind of like a breather episode before potentially things get wild again. We'll have to see.
I know. No Vatican drunk mile, unfortunately for us. But maybe we were months too late. I don't know. I thought we sent it in before the episode, but here we are. And it was straightforward. I agree with you, and I enjoy the challenges. But I think it was fun watching specifically the royal decree one. Like, that's silly, but everything else, I think the challenges were also really straightforward.
I think they just happened. Yeah, they happened to hit a patch of challenges that seemed a lot easier than the previous ones that they've been doing. But yes, I was worried when we talked about a drunk mile at the Vatican. I was like, is this too blasphemous? Are we venturing into? But then they were in the Vatican joking about the Pope dying. So
I feel like Conclave.
We're safe.
Don't do that. And the thing is, we said wine. I think that's part of it. So we're really good. Yeah. And Taran, I must say, all these listeners here, they loved it. They were like, that's so funny. When are y'all letting them know next time for their next season? They should consult us for challenges. So all I know is drinking challenges, even though I don't even drink like that, I think I'm really good at coming up with. So social chair for life,
Yes. So there were a few, I think, really fun moments in this episode. One that really stood out to me. It really, we've been waiting for a snack zone all season long. Where's the snack zone? What's happening with the snack zone? And this is I think an all-timer snack zone transition to be like, oh, our plane's being rerouted. Oh boy. Right after Tom was like, I hope their plane gets rerouted.
Sam says, yeah. Sam messing with his hair just like me. For real. And then it's like, it says the decree. Taran, I feel like someone, not us, someone maybe on the jet lag Reddit or something needs to do a ranking of all this like the best edits. This is officially my submission for top 5.
Mm-hmm. I think like the best edits would be maybe tricky to do, but possible. But what would probably be easier is like best snack zones.
Oh.
Right? Ranking all the snack zones.
That's a fun one. You should do that on your Twitch stream and eat said snacks.
Oh. That might be hard.
Figure it out, baby. Robot Army, come on. It's time to mail Taran's P.O. box.
That actually sounds like a very fun idea for a stream if you can find all of the foods. Which I imagine would be quite difficult.
People can mail you stuff. Let's get everybody involved.
we don't need people mailing me things. Anyway, so great. They got the plane got rerouted to the snack zone. I thought that was great.
Okay. And the flavor was hot.
Yeah. So really it's like, I think the perspective of this episode is that like one team is going to be traveling while the other team is doing challenges, basically, is how this goes. First, Tom and Sam are going to do the Slovakia challenge, not the Slovenia
No,
challenge.
unfortunately not.
And it's funny because I feel like we just talked about like cheesing challenges, right? Like finding the taskmastery way of doing a challenge. And Tom mentioned that he was worried about that one for this challenge, where they had to visit castles and or palaces. And I get his hesitation here because they definitely accomplished the challenge, but in terms of like the visuals for content, we didn't exactly get to see anything very interesting.
But here's me speaking as a competitor and not a watcher. I would, and you and I have talked about this, right? We would try to find every loophole to make this happen because you have 1 hour to make it all, to do your decree. So I think I'm saying if it has cast in it, I don't care. Like I'm just trying to gamify anything to make it happen. So in that way, I really feel for them, and I appreciate that they didn't do the like palace. It has to be a palace. It can't. Sorry, has to be a castle, can't be a palace. Because I think that would have really been a big bummer to like watch.
If they'd been like, that doesn't count.
Yeah, like as in they would have been like, oh, you can't. Basically, you can't do it. In where were they? Bratislava, or
right. That's the tricky part about like writing these challenges for the entire country.
Yeah,
Is that like, you know, you could say, well, because of the way this challenge was written, it was too easy and we didn't get to see any cool castles or anything. But you're right. Like if they had been like, okay, well, only castles and only cool castles, like then it might not have worked in most of the places they were in there. And so you really have to try to like figure out that balance. And yeah, like I said, I think that like for the most part, that balance has been there with this season. I think this episode just happened to contain a lot of the challenges that just fell right in line with like, this is just going to work out. And so we didn't get as much intrigue as we have in the other episodes, but I think that's fine because we've gotten plenty of intrigue so far this season.
And again, this is where their star power like carries, and we're able to, again, we know that it's straightforward. We're seeing both sides, but poor Tom is in a blender, right? He's like, Sam, fast, move fast, come on. Right? He's just in shambles, and Sam taking off his hat slowly, doing his hair. I mean, like, very relatable. Me, I've changed my hair 17 times already on this pod, and so I get it, but poor Tom, he's like, Sam, hat, decree, run. And Sam is just like vibing out. So we've had enough moments of hilarity. And at the Vatican, it's just the whole idea of a man just laying down. And
I've got the crown.
Oh, yes. Please. And why does Sam look?
And then we've got meanwhile.
No, this is so unserious, right? Like, can you imagine being at the Vatican? And I think I just watched Conclave like 2 weeks ago for the first time ever.
Right.
So I think that's why I'm just like, no, you can't do this. Like this goes against everything. They poor, all the folk, very important people in the Vatican are going through so much for us. And then here we are, plebes, just on our backs.
Oh man.
And I must say, like, can you imagine doing this in like a stricter country? Because I thought the Vatican was strict, but then it's two people doing like laying on their back and vibing out, drawing, and it's okay. But I'm like thinking in Dubai or something where I've seen other YouTubers like having to get their footage deleted when they're doing like scavenger hunts and stuff. It's just unserious. And thank you for the content, and thank you for putting your lives in trouble.
Yes. So Tom and Sam lock Slovakia. Tom sends a text about how they locked Slovenia. Which listen, I am not one to judge. The only reason I know that there's a difference there is because Janja is the goat of sport climbing and she's from Slovenia. So
And I didn't even realize he said anything different until Sam pointed it out. So here I am.
So I thought it was so funny. He was so embarrassed.
This is what I mean. Like, he takes it. Tom is like a goated guest because he takes it so serious that even though he's like, I was so gloaty, with all the emphasis and all this extra, and then I was dead ass
The fact
wrong.
that he made a point of adding all of the emojis and then was like, oh, look at all the emojis. I'm gonna be extra
And
emoji gloaty.
Like all. This is something that that definitely happens to me where I do, like, I put all this work into like an Instagram story, or I'll like be like, oh, look, I made it look really nice and cool. And then I can't tell the difference between there and there. And then I have to just delete it and just post the picture and move on with my life. So I feel you, Tom.
I think I just happened to land on the exact same frame here.
Oh, that's really funny.
So after they lock Slovakia, Ben and Adam are gonna head through Italy, through Rome to the Vatican. There was some question about like why would they do the Vatican challenge first. I think it does make a ton of sense here. First of all, I think we talked about this already. You should lock the Vatican. It's too easy to get there.
Yes.
It's not like Liechtenstein where it's going to be like a whole thing to get there. And then second, the reason you would do the Vatican first is that it's so small that the challenge is going to be contained within there. You're going to do it. It's going to be over. Whereas the challenge that you're going to do in Rome for Italy could theoretically lead you anywhere. You might need to travel to a different part of Italy to do that challenge and then leave the Vatican, have to come back for the Vatican, which would be potentially dangerous. So I think the right call here was made.
Someone in our comments, and I think it was a few people, so apologies I didn't take the exact comment, but even said, what would it have looked like if the Rome challenge depended on the Vatican? Like, you had like something, I don't know exactly what that would look like, but what would it be if you had to have completed the Rome challenge to then do the Vatican, which I think is really shitty, but would be funny for us.
Well, then what happens if you don't even need to lock the Vatican?
Yeah.
Or then you wouldn't need to lock one or the other because one of them requires the other, and then you wouldn't be able to, because you wouldn't be able to steal it.
Yep. I just thought it was very funny. Because I was like, no, that's mean. We can't do that.
Yes. So they lock the Vatican by drawing by doing their drawing, which I think it's a recognizable enough painting that they really, I don't remember if they had a required amount of time they needed to spend on it, but like when Adam was like, this is probably good enough, I was like, that's definitely good enough. And then when he finished it was like, yep, it was still good. And I think he had the right idea too, where it's like, don't add too much detail to get it messy, because people just remember the hands basically, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Because I didn't realize that the name of that painting was Creation of Adam until this moment. Like, I know I've been to the literal Vatican, but in my mind, it's the Sistine Chapel. Like, that's the name of the painting. So I love that people like me didn't answer and the Google form was good enough. But I thought that was actually a really good task, right? Like, it had to do with with the paintings in there, because we talked about, well, what would you do at the Vatican besides maybe visit it and look at the paintings? So I really enjoyed it. I would have, I think, like, I did like our idea of like going around the whole country. Would have just been funny as well.
So they lock that in. Then they go to their Italy challenge, and this one is, I would say, maybe one of the weaker challenges.
Yeah, agreed.
So we've got This is it's a little maybe this one. So the idea is that like Dante's Inferno, you're gonna go underground and do a limbo challenge, and you have to roll 2 dice to determine the feet at which you have to limbo under and the amount of attempts you have to do that. Which basically just meant that this was just a luck challenge. As long as you are able to get a reasonable amount of feet, this is going to be probably just pretty easy or impossible. Like there's probably a level at which, and I think they probably had it right. I think 4 feet is, you pretty much can just do that. 3 feet is probably just impossible.
This was, I think, a high risk, high reward challenge for as a viewer. Imagine them getting 3 feet, like you said. Because I'm 5 foot, whatever, 5 foot and a little bit, and I don't even think I could bend enough to do 3 feet. Maybe
what? I'm saying it's impossible. I have not tried.
Yeah, Taran on stream.
Maybe we need to pause this podcast so I can try a 3 feet limbo.
No, actually, you do it live on the pod. What do you mean?
Well, I need to grab
Taran for limbo. Taran for limbo.
I think my desk right now is that it's really only 2 feet? That can't be true.
Taran in shambles.
Wait, no, 3 feet actually might not be that bad at all.
I think 3 feet is possible.
I was thinking like that's like half your height, but like
no,
it's actually not that low. I feel
no, 3 is okay, but it would be hard. But I think it's possible. Like I would, like I said, a short person and not bendy, 30 plus human would struggle. But I think maybe I could do it. But what if they got 1 foot? It's over, right?
Yeah, it's done. It's over for sure. You can't do 1 foot. So I feel like, but here's the thing, right? Theoretically, the upside to this challenge is that it can be over very quickly. Although I guess maybe the idea was that like getting underground would be more difficult than it ended up being. But I don't know. It didn't seem like it would be. Yeah, if they were in like if they weren't in a major city, it probably would have been really difficult to find an underground location.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. But I think to get to Vatican City, it's just, it doesn't make sense to not.
Yeah, it's just like you're pretty much always going to be in Rome when you go to Italy, because why wouldn't you be in the place to get two countries in one?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think that the Dante's Inferno piece is really interesting, and I wonder if we could have played a little bit more with that, like go to a certain spot and then perform the challenge instead of maybe just underground, and or like something with the heat, right? Like Dante's Inferno, eat the spiciest thing you can find, because that's hilarious. I love a good hot ones challenge. So I wonder if we could have found like a chili that they had to eat underground again if we need to, or something like that. And it has to be done in a certain amount of time, and if they drink milk, they get in a little bit more trouble, blah, blah, things like that.
I feel like maybe the way to do this is like to set a certain height. Maybe like because they're different heights themselves. Maybe you even survivor this, and it's like depending on the person who attempts it, you have a certain height you need to do based on your height, and then you roll a dice for like how many attempts. You roll a die for how many attempts do you get at that height. Because I will say, if they roll a really low number, it would have been funny to watch them attempt a really low.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like, for us, it's a high reward if it flops, but because it was a really easy thing, very, it was like, okay, click, we're good, check, let's move.
Yes, so they quickly lock Italy, and I will say that when they got to Rome and they were like, how do we cross this street? And I was like, yep. That was exactly my experience as soon as I got to Rome.
I was very much like, what is everyone doing? And I just had to follow people because I had no idea what was going on. Rome was so fun, and like it was like been on my bucket list for so long, but then trying to get around, wild. Just it's the Wild West, and you can't tell me otherwise. But so much fun. Oh my gosh.
So Sam and Tom then travel. They head up to Copenhagen, while Ben and Adam decide where they want to go next. And they ultimately conclude that they want to go to the Netherlands to attempt the only failed challenge thus far, the flower challenge. Sasha, do you think they're going to get it?
My notes say they are gonna get it.
I feel like the
That
buildup,
foreshadowing is crazy.
yeah, the buildup is like, this is impossible. It's definitely impossible. I feel like they're building it up to them then getting it, is my guess.
Yes, I believe you. My notes say it, so I called it already. And you and I think last week, maybe just me, were so enthralled, right, with like Ben and Adam's just like luck, and we are just like, God is on their side. How does it feel to be God's favorite? All of this stuff, right? They are charged by the power of the Vatican now by laying on those steps. I think like certain things happen, and our chat did remind us that they also have leftover desert power.
Mm.
Methinks they're finding the Christmas rose and they're getting everything else.
Yeah.
Or is it that they're so funny and trolly that they actually don't find it but they set us up? That would be so funny. And
I mean,
egg on our face.
I don't feel like super confident that they will definitely get it. It just feels like
the setup.
So much emphasis and foreshadowing has gone into this that like if they then fail, it's like, well, yeah, isn't that what you said was going to happen?
Yep.
But maybe they're double bluffing us. You never know.
Yes, reading the edit. Look at us.
This is the jet lag edgic segment of the podcast. Who's getting the winner edit?
Well, one team did see the trophy already being transported.
That's true.
I don't know what tells you, if that says anything about anything, but I'm just saying.
So Sam and Tom decide they get to Copenhagen, but they're gonna go to, was it Sweden first?
Yes.
And then do that challenge and then come back. But I don't think we've seen them do that yet.
No, we got left on a little bit of a cliffhanger for Sweden. But not, it didn't make me feel unfulfilled, if that makes sense. Like it was fine cliffhanger wise because we got a lot of challenges. But yeah, they land in, I think, Copenhagen, mad dash to get to the train. It becomes a tie game. They end up in Sweden. They're now claimed, both, of course, Denmark and Sweden. And now they're debating, do we only lock one? Because it might be harder to get to both, like you were talking about for Vatican and Rome, Italy. And that's what they're debating. But they're like, listen, we don't know. We know they're going to Netherlands. The lads are going to the Netherlands, which I said, Tom, when did you look at this? Was it the off time? Are we gaming in off time? I don't know. How do you not?
What? Go ahead.
How do you not game? Like, that's my question during the off time.
I honestly, I mean, I think it would be easy to not like look at things, but it would be very difficult. For instance, when Ben and Adam stopped in the middle of their memorization challenge, like I don't know how I would stop myself from thinking about the script overnight.
Yeah, or like even being like, oh, if this happens, I need to go here. Okay, let me stop thinking about it. I know I need to stop.
Right, yeah, just like thinking about strategy.
Yeah, that's what
I think
mean.
You're just, there's no way you can fully stop yourself from like just having thoughts. But you could definitely just like not look at your phone and not do any research or anything like that. So that would be easy. I did have a thought though, which was like I think I saw this somewhere actually. I think somebody said this that like wouldn't it be fun if they didn't see each other's locations for this game?
Yes. Like I think that is crazy hard because then you have to like do a lot of prediction, right? Okay, they just claimed Vatican, and they're obviously going to claim Rome. But where do they go next? That would be the fun part. The where would they go next? But does that take away from your planning? Like I'm trying to go to Copenhagen, but I'm so caught up in thinking about where the other team is going. Am I losing out on my own strategy time?
Well, that's kind of like maybe the point, right? Like all of a sudden these decisions become more difficult. Like when Tom and Sam were like, "Oh, thank God, they are going to
Right.
Rome." Like, you know, I think it's potentially more interesting if they're like panicking the whole time, and then they finally get the call, like, "Oh, we've claimed the Vatican." Oh, thank God. Or whatever, and then like you get to know where they are when they claim something, but you don't know for sure where they're headed, which means that you have to take more gambles, and then potentially end up conflicting even more often. Like, oh, we ended up in the same country, or hey, we ended up on the same plane. Like what happened one time. I thought it was interesting. I'm curious to know from them why they decided to share location the whole time, because I'm sure they have a reason that we're not thinking about. But I thought that was a good suggestion that I saw. It was like, oh, that is an interesting thought. What if they couldn't see each other's locations for this particular game? Because it doesn't seem necessary that they should. But
Did
yeah, there's
they
probably a reason.
see they didn't see locations in New Zealand, right?
In New Zealand,
With Toby.
I feel like they did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Right?
can't remember because for something in me saying maybe they didn't,
Because
and
they had they had like the curses or whatever that would
right.
like they
Oh,
would like
right.
wait until the
And they would
person got
drop
to a
it.
certain
Yes.
spot, and then they
Okay.
yeah.
Because then you wouldn't know where they're going next because it's obviously a straight road down. But yeah, I guess depends on which highway you would take. Um, that's the only thing they didn't know. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. But that's most of the episode there, Sasha.
Yeah, it was really straightforward. I'm not mad at it. I see why we needed this one. And for me personally, this still goes to my theory that like taking a plane like is so much harder. And the other team gets so much more accomplished
Mhm,
in this part of the game, not
mhm.
necessarily when it's end game and you gotta run. Then I understand, but I really feel like taking a plane is crazy. And now I have a question. If we're ready to move
Sure.
from our comments. So
Okay.
I listen and leave us these questions because I think I thought this one was funny. So it's by at MKL_DVD. Hi, Taran and Sasha, loving your recaps. I have a question. If a future season of Jet Lag had a guest contestant who had been on a previous traditional reality show, Survivor, Amazing Race, etc., who would be the best partner for Sam? And how well do you think they would do in the format?
Oh boy. Let's see. Well, I mean, obviously, like the Amazing Race has a lot of good
Yeah.
options. Right now,
Mhm.
seems like there's a lot of Big Brother players that might be running an Amazing Race. So
Spoilers.
um, listen, I feel like there's a lot of good options, but
Mhm.
I'm never gonna not say that I want. I'm never gonna not say I want to see Taylor Hale on a show
Okay.
of any sort.
I knew you were gonna pick that. I felt in my heart, and that was gonna be my choice as well. And I think that's like the Sam winning. We're giving like good options to both people, right? Like, and it's gonna be a fair team. Taylor's gonna kill it.
Mhm.
Are there any chaos picks? Because you know I had to ask that because that's my amendment.
I mean,
I'm thinking Colin.
Angela.
Oh my God. What would Sam do with an Angela? Or Miss Felicia?
Felicia.
Miss Felicia said, hold on, I need to take my tooth out while we have this conversation. Oh my. Miss Felicia and Sam in a kayak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying for that. Paying Nebula prices for that. Let's make it happen. But here's the thing. I would say also, this is my chaos agent pick because seeing Sam and Tom has inspired me to be like, no, I feel like Sam low-key needs like a chaos agent with him, like someone that's just like very opposite, not chill. And imagine Colin, not the new and improved Colin. Where's my ox?
The old school Amazing Race Colin.
School Amazing Race 5, right? Yes. Where
no,
is
not
Colin
Zen, not Zen 5.
No. Okay, get out of here. Because I was so sad when he came back and they were all zen and nice. Great for their relationship. Sad for me. So I want like an old school chaos agent to come back.
You just want Sam to get yelled at.
No, not even. Oh man, the castle is broken. Oh my God. But yeah, so that's who like in my chaos agent or our friend Omer.
Yeah. Omer
Because
would be very fun.
He's really strategic when he actually plays, but he just can't help himself.
I mean, Omer's self-sabotaging, I think frustrates Sam.
Like, I mean, like Omer would just like be like, oh, so how do we mess up Adam and Ben the whole time? And Sam would be like, that's not this game. Please stop.
All right. Well,
so yes. Thank you for that question. I thought it was so funny. No, that was like the most question. They do want us to name 100 women on as a bonus pod, and I really do feel like it would be too easy.
Well, the question is, do you want to see us name 100 Big Brother Survivor players? Is that fun? Or
that's me cheering Taran on.
Or do you want to see us struggle and exclude those names and make it much more difficult?
I know what I thought, because I did tell you this a little bit ahead of like before we recorded, but over the course of this pod, the only thing I think that could make it difficult is if we had either live chat, and Sam as in our producer Sam, coming in and like every X amount of time we have to switch categories. And like chat like picks it, you know? Like,
well,
honestly,
now categories might make it easier because it gives you some structure. You know what I mean?
Fair, but you know something like that, like name only A names, or you know, like a version. Like when I mean category, like chat, like yelling at us, basically. Because if it's personal people, I'm killing it. If it's reality people, I think you have it.
Listen, we've got some great ideas. Yeah. We've got Limbo, we've got Snack Zone rankings, and we've got Name 100 Women. Yes. So find me over on Twitch and YouTube if you want to see.
Next time you're on You Eat Me as Pelican, you have to name 100 women.
That out of context for people who don't know what you're talking about is going to be really strange.
They already clipped your last one. Shout out Michael for clipping that.
All right. Well, Sasha, if you want to read off the plugs, I can try and do a limbo here.
Oh yeah. Look, if you stayed until the end, here you go. Gift from Taran. All right, I will do that. So now that I have full structure of the podcast, what are we gonna do to mess with Taran? Everyone, let me know in the comments, and I will try to do that. All right. Hopefully you can't hear, but I don't know. And now
I can't hear you. I turned the speakers on.
Boo.
All right.
Okay, Taran is currently measuring, and while Taran's doing that, you can find me on Mess Magnets, where I am talking celebrity pop culture, everything crazy. And if you're listening to us, please come to the YouTube channel because Taran is doing Oh my God, are you okay?
That was a fail. That was one fail.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. And now Taran is going again. Are your knees touching the floor? Okay. No. Okay. He's going. He's going. His head is too big. Chop it off, gladiator style. No, he did. Oh, he did it. 2 tries. 2 tries only, folks. He did it.
3 feet is doable.
3 feet is doable. And Taran is tall as hell. So, are you able to is squatting fair? Is squatting
fair? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
Right? Yeah. Or do you have to do the back?
I mean, basically, I was like,
yeah, you're like squatting or you were walking on your toes, it felt like, right?
Yeah, I was like on my toes, but like my knees were fully bent and I was bending back.
Okay, fair. You did bend back. I'll allow it. Because in my mind, you can only be straight, like tabletop, right? Reverse tabletop.
Yeah, I didn't like duck under forwards or anything.
Exactly.
But listen, I'm not a limbo expert by any means.
You killed it. Taran gave us content. Content is king. What more do you need, folks? This is the #1 jet lag podcast. I'm claiming it.
I'm not seeing the jet lag boys do a 3-foot limbo.
Okay, because they said we got a dice roll and we did it, and that's it. Don't call us again. Next, Taran will be walking for 20 minutes without a timer.
That's the entire podcast. Listen, once I get my treadmill working again.
Oh my God. This is what y'all get when you subscribe to RHAP and listen to our jet lag content. You're all welcome. Thank you, Taran, for feeding us.
All right. Well, thank you to the audience for listening and or I guess watching in this instance. If you this is probably not the best content for audio listeners, but hopefully you got the gist of it. But thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week to talk about episode 5 of Jet Lag the Game and Schengen Showdown. And I think that's make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you leave a comment, ask a question, do things that make the podcast be good and happy and come back
and spreading wild.
Tell a friend, not about jet lag, but about the jet lag recap podcast.
About a man doing a limbo on a podcast.
All right. So thank you again. Did you already do the plug, Sasha?
Yeah, I did mine. Check out Mess Magnets, check out Daredevil on We Know Scripted TV.
All right.
What
well,
Taran?
That's listen, that they got it all. That's thank you for joining us. We will see all of you next time.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.